Welcome, it's Brian, and this is Guitar on Record, a new series of videos I'm doing where I talk about my favorite guitar player and what I think are their top 5 recordings, in my opinion. And the only stipulation is I actually have to own a copy, a physical copy of the CD to kind of put it on my list. So the lists are somewhat skewed because with this one, specifically, Rush, there's a few I don't own and haven't for a while. So, that's going to kind of skew the results. And I'll mention my favorites, but this is basically the top 5 CDs that I have in my possession. So, with Rush, we are going to start with one of my favorites is Caress of Steel. So, that's in my top 5. I've always loved this record. My first Rush record was called Archives, which, if you're a fan, you know, it was basically the first 3 records packaged together in like a 3-record set. I have to say I love this record. I mostly listen to the second side, and that's still something I still do to this day. Although the only song I just cannot stand on it, so it's almost a perfect record for me, is I Think I'm Going Bald. If that were another song, it would definitely be probably my number 2 or 3. So, but it's close. It's in that top 5. So, Caress of Steel. Next, of course, is 2112. I spent so much time listening to this record. So much time. Mostly on cassette and a Walkman, but so many nights. This and Caress of Steel. Those two. Just many, many nights in my teenage years, or preteens, basically, listening to that. So, incredible record. Great compositions. Tears, I've always loved that. The songs, the second side, essentially, all the songs, all really cool. Oh, I'm going to go back to Caress of Steel for 1 second, because I love Lakeside Park. That song just gets me every time. And the Necromancer, and then the Fountain of Lemeth, or however you say that, both of those big pieces, there's just, the whole thing is so, I have no idea what it's about. I remember someone talking about it, and I was like, I was a little bit like, what? Anyway, I don't care. It's just like the coolest piece of music, or one of the coolest pieces of music of all time. The next one, so we're on number 3, Hemispheres. So this one was huge for me. And weirdly, the one piece, or 2 pieces that I don't really love on it are the Trees and La Via Strangiato. I don't know what it is about that. Trees just was a hit, almost, and I just, like, when I think of Rush, I think it's like a true fans band, like them having a hit at that time just kind of bugged me. So I never got into that, but, I mean, I still listen to the whole thing from start to finish all the time. There's some elements to it that, I'll talk about more. I'll talk about my perfect record when I'm done. But anyway, so Hemispheres, always loved it. Super influential on me as a guitar player. Love it. The next one, number 4, is A Farewell to Kings. Now, I'm not sure, maybe it's closer to the heart that throws this one off for me as well. It's always like the song that's the most popular that bugs me for some reason. But Hemisphere, I loved because it was heavier. It's obviously after this album. But there's some really, really great stuff on this record as well. I love Xanadu, Cygnus X1, great pieces on it for sure. And kind of like a continuation of 2112, but with bigger pieces, and then kind of culminating with Hemispheres. And then after I show you the next one, number 5, we'll talk about Hemispheres going into the next record. This. So Moving Pictures, huge record for the band, obviously. I heard this was on MTV, it was on the radio. My friends listened to it. I never bought this record till probably maybe a decade ago. I always liked it. I just didn't want to hear it because it was on the radio so much. So now I bought a copy eventually because I just had to. I always loved Witch Hunt and Vital Signs, Camera Eye, and I've grown to love Tom Sawyer, Red Barchetta, and Limelight again, especially Limelight and Red Barchetta. I love those songs all the time, but like I said, it was like kind of heard it too many times, I guess, or something. So that's my number 5. So I am going to go on. I don't have these copies, but I'm going to talk about it anyway because Rush is one of those bands where Permanent Waves is definitely in my top 5. If I had that, we would have talked about that. I could do without Spirit of the Radio in general. Free Will, I like good enough. There's some great stuff in it, but it's the other elements of that record. Different strings, Natural Science, what's the Jacob's Ladder, those 3, and there's one other that I'm forgetting. Those were like refined but expansive pieces, just that would have been on Hemisphere, but they kind of did it and just really kind of refine them down to these amazing pieces. They're still long, there's tons of parts, they're really complicated, but those really hit home. And then we have Moving Pictures, which I said I would consider in my top probably 7. And I put in here because it's the copy I have, the physical copy of a record of theirs. Signals I really, really dig. Love Grace Under Pressure. And the last record I bought was Power Windows. And I haven't listened to that one in a long time. And I'm sure it probably doesn't hold up that well in my eyes because it just, at the time, it was the last record I bought. I haven't bought anything since that wasn't like a DVD or, just a DVD. I haven't bought any physical, releases since then. So that's where my love of Rush kind of ends, is basically Grace Under Pressure. Lots of people told me there's lots of great elements to other records after that. I just never got it, and it just never clicked with me. And Grace Under Pressure is obviously such a different record than even Signals. It's such a cool departure. So I like that Rush changed it up a lot, and there's these, going from these hyper progressive elements, but still yet really, really popular. Because on, Moving Pictures, you have YYZ. That's a pretty long piece. Vital Signs, that's 4 minutes long. Witch Hunt is 4 minutes. The Camera Eye of those like 10:56. So that's a long piece. So pretty interesting that they're all for the most part, under 5 minutes. On Farewell to Kings, there's basically Closer to the Heart is 3:52 or 2:52. So basically 3 long pieces and then some short stuff. So they kind of mixed it up. Hemispheres, Cygnus X1 Book 2, favorite part, the Hemispheres Prelude, blah, blah, blah. That's, 18 minutes long, an amazing piece of music, one of my favorites. Circumstances is 3 minutes, that was kind of a hit. But The Trees, I think, was actually the bigger hit, and that's at 4 minutes 42. And then you have La Via Strangiato, which is a huge hit among fans, and that's like 9.5 minutes long. So, cool stuff. I love Rush a lot. Weirdly, I never saw them live, unfortunately. I'm not sure why. I probably had chances to see them around Hemispheres and Moving Pictures for sure. Probably Hemispheres. Permanent Waves. That's the tour I could have seen. I'm pretty sure I wanted to go, but I didn't go to too many shows back then. But Alex, the more I think about it, and it's one of those bands that I listened early on to, basically my first progressive rock band, actually, and listen to them to this day. And it's I just kind of watched this thing recently because Geddy Lee has his book out, and he is on stage talking with Alex, and I know why we're all fans of theirs, and I know hardcore fans, obviously, that went to as many shows as they could, all of that. I've never done that with any band, but I get it, and it's such an amazing thing to have a career with 3 of the same people. For 40 years, basically, almost, or at least into the mid 30 year thing, do so many records, do so much together. And I think as an outsider, I think we would all love to have that kind of close relationships with, your best friend for that long. I have had that, so I'm lucky, but there's something about the come out, them going through all those hard times and then seeing all the success and doing it all together. And it's only three, so it's an interesting number to kind of have in a band, obviously, because it's just someone's always going to be the person that might break the vote or whatever. But from all what I've heard, they never really disagreed on much. So some of my favorite things, I love watching that stuff behind the scenes, like not necessarily the recording of the records because they haven't done too much of that, but there is a lot of footage off that Rush, is it R40, and then there's some other ones, that those big box sets of stuff where they have like an extra DVD of stuff of, the one where they're at the in the restaurant eating and they're just having fun. It's like one of the most beautiful and poignant kind of pieces of like music documentary I've ever seen, and I just really love that part. And so yeah, I'm a huge fan that never saw him live, so it is what it is, I guess, at this point. So that is my top 5 Rush records, with talking about a lot of ancillary ones I don't have for some reason. I have them digitally, but not physically, and that, of course, is Permanent Waves. That's huge for me, and Signals and Grace Under Pressure. Both of those, or all 3 of those, are really big too. So let me know what your favorite 5 are, or maybe just your favorite 2 or 3 or 10. I don't care. Maybe you can list all of them if you want, in chronological order or in importance. I don't care. That would be great. I'd love to see what people think of all of these. And I'll end with, I really think one I didn't mention was Fly By Night. And I think that's almost the perfect Rush record. I have Wikipedia here just so I can remember all the titles of the songs. I was talking to a friend about this, and he was like, we were talking about Rush. He's not the hugest Rush fan, but I said I think it's their perfect record, because the first record I don't really listen to. Caress of Steel I love, except Bastille Day is pretty good. I mean, I like it, but I think I'm Going Bald, which, I don't hate it per se, but it just makes this almost perfect record imperfect. So when I look at Fly By Night, I think Anthem. I love that. It kind of harrows back to the first record, kind of a heavy Led Zeppelin influence thing. And then Best I Can, Beneath, Between, and Behind. I really dig that. And then we have By Torn the Snow Dog. Incredible piece. Their first long form piece, coming in at 8 minutes. And then they're calling this side 2, which doesn't make sense. But Fly By Night, I love that song. So, what can you say? Making Memories, I love that one. Rivendell, In the End, I mean, that might be the weakest song on it, but I can listen to that stop to, finish, or beginning to finish, and not once go like, but like I said, with Chris of Steel, I think I'm Going Bald. That every time that comes up, I go, I would have just preferred it not been on there, in my humble opinion. And anyway, whatever your opinions are, please put them in the comments. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.